Now people know who you are. Like I said, I showed up out of nowhere, but now people know who you are. So yes, the pressure of with holding up the image of the team, yourself, your family, and of course, you want to make it. You want to be able to help your family and those type of things. So
this is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, the pressure starts hitting. Like, what was that like when you're getting offers from all these, big Division I schools?
Right. It really became exhausting. I think Coach Verducci helped me a lot, but I think Coach Verducci, he went to Pitt. He went to Pitt himself, but everybody associated him with Penn State because he reminded people of Joe Paterno.
He was good friends with
Joe Paterno, and our uniforms look just like Seton. Look like Penn State.
Yeah, our high school uniforms look like Notre Dame. I swear.
Exactly.
We didn't have stripes on our helmet.
No,
we had nothing. I think we had a stripe on our pants. That was about it.
Blue stripe, black
we were
cleats.
just like Penn State.
We were just like Penn State.
Yeah.
So as I started getting recruited, I really was recruited by over 300 colleges, and because
all the major colleges.
All the major colleges.
We're not saying Montclair State was knocking on the door.
all the big schools. But it started getting. I was getting letters coming to the house all the time, and then people trying to, get visits and all those type of things. But I was very conscious of my family, and I wanted my parents to see me play. So I didn't want to go out to California. Now, USC, besides Pitt, was my favorite team coming up.
OJ fan?
Oh, yeah. OJ, yeah. I wanted to go visit out there, but I didn't. And Nebraska at that time was one of the best programs around. I didn't go visit them, but I wanted my parents to come see me play. So my 5 visits, you get 5 official visits. I went to Pitt, Penn State, Notre Dame, West Virginia, and Maryland. My mother thought I was going to Notre Dame. My father thought I was going to Penn State.
Is that the Lou Holtz days?
No, it was the Jerry Faust. Jerry Faust days.
I was hoping you went to Notre Dame.
And I ended up going to Pitt. Like I said, Pitt was my team. And I studied. They were putting defensive guys in the NFL, like, constantly. So that was something that I focused on also.
That's the reason you went to Pitt, because they were pumping out defensive
That was one of the reasons.
And you liked them growing up.
You got to remember, I grew up in Newark. And Seton Hall, we had the penny loafers, the ties. You couldn't have. So me being a city, I wanted the city life and the college life. So Notre Dame was just like going right back to Seton Hall again. Penn State was great, but if you left the campus, you was in nothing but farmland.
You were in the country.
You was in the country. So Pitt gave us the city life, 10 minutes down the block, plus the campus life. So unless I just didn't like it, I was going to go there.
And you were a Steelers fan.
Absolutely, all of that.
So you were recruited in a time when the NCAA violations probably were a little looser than they are now?
Definitely looser than they were now.
Did you ever see any chicanery, should we say?
I didn't get the $500 handshakes that I know a lot of people did. And, put it this way. I know some facts. Some of the guys in college, when we got to the pros, they took a pay cut when they went to the pros versus college. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Listen, I'm not gonna mention names, but there was a running back from Passaic that went to Pitt, and his parents are driving around a brand new Cadillac.
Yeah,
like I said, it happens. But honestly, I could say I didn't have those. I didn't have that. I don't know. I came out, like I said, All-American and all those things, but. We didn't, outside of getting that Pell Grant money, that's all we did.
So your parents sound like incredibly caring individuals.
Yes.
I'm sure your parents are looking at, hey, listen, Tony, great that you're going to play football. Right. What about the education? That
was my mom. And thank God I ended up graduating from Pitt before she passed away, because that's what she wanted the most. She wanted me to get my education and degrees, and then we'll get into it. But once I left the NFL, you go through the little depression.
Oh, absolutely.
You go through a depression, and she always told me, and still sticks with me today. She said, "Tony, football is what you did. That's not who you are," and it helped me through some dark days, because she always said, you're good at football, but you're way more than that. And she always wanted me to promise her that I was going to graduate, and I actually did that in 2013. I got my BA in communications.
Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
Now you're playing for you pick Pitt. Was college football a eye-opening experience for you?
College football was the only time that I ever thought about quitting football.
Really?
It's listen.
It's
like
a job.
It's a job, and that's what I didn't realize. Like I told you, high school kind of was easy for me on the football field. It was tough as far as, dude, we out there late night. We played on a dust field. All those things.
Astro dirt.
Plus, Seton Hall was a very tough educational school, so you really had to study and do those things. But
see, in high school, after practice is over, you go home.
Right.
In college, they own you.
Yes.
You got after practice is over, you got meetings, you got this, you got that.
Right. And it's all different now. We were actually doing triple sessions. That's like unheard of now.
Yeah.
We literally did that. In my first 2 weeks, my best friend, Reggie Smith, who went to Bayonne High School, he, after the first 2 weeks of training camp, he was like, I don't know if I want to do this. He was like, Tone, I can't go home. My parents not going to let me. And I was like, well, we just hung in there. And once we got to the week 3, week 4 of the training camp, we started feeling better. But like I said, I was blessed with a lot of gifts, but I didn't lift a lot of weights. I didn't do a lot of that stuff in high school. We didn't even have a weight room.
We didn't have a weight room in high school.
Yeah. So it was different. Some guys just love to eat weights. Like I said, I was pretty much physically blessed, and I was able to run, and all I did was curls. That's all I did.
Yeah,
curls for the girls. Curls for the girls. That's all it was. But when I went to college, that was an awakening. And I'll tell you one quick story that set my whole college career off. When we got to Pitt, all the freshmen came in, and we went in the weight room, and the strength coach is named Buddy Morris. He's been in the pros now. But Buddy Morris was the one that helped me get into the pros. But my first year, we got a 225. We had to lift it. You got guys doing it 15 times, 16 times. I'm All-American and all this. You got DBs doing it 10, 11. I pushed up 225 2 times. And he said, holy shit, are you serious? You're an All-American. And it embarrassed me. But it jump-started everything for me. And then as I went through my career, once I got stronger, I said, they can't block me. I already know they couldn't block me, but I only lifted 225 2 times when I first got there.
And yet, look at what happened. So, they put a lot of emphasis on those strengths. Even when I went to school, and we're talking early 90s, they put a huge amount. And unfortunately, the pressure is there, especially at that time, to take some sort of performance enhancer in order to meet those expectations. I think when I came in as a freshman, I did 2 1/4, like 10 times. But guess what? When I came in as a sophomore, I did it 29 times. Do you think that's real?
There's vitamins that people used to take back in the day.
Yeah. Did you think that was real? Of course it wasn't. Of course. And this is D3. This is nothing compared to the level that you played on. And I try to wrap my head around the job mentality, because even in D3 it was a job. You had triple sessions during camp, and then meetings and stuff like this. They took care of you, and they did a great job.
Yes.
But now you're playing at this ultra prestigious college, this high level football program with some of the greats. I mean, you just missed Dan Marino, quarterback, and one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Right. It's just a level that is unfathomable to me, but it's so cool because people see where you are, where you went, but they don't see all the self-doubt,
the background stuff.
When you hit that 225 twice, like what the hell, maybe I'm not what I thought I was.
Right, and that's a great point. Everybody sees the winning the championships. They don't see the groundwork and the things you have to go through, because there's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of people telling you can't do this. Some people come in as freshmen and they're taking care of their family, the people that's older than them. People don't know the responsibility that they have. When I came in, my freshman year in high school, my freshman year in college, I actually had a daughter my senior year in high school. So now I got the responsibility that, not only trying to go through school and graduate, I have to have a daughter I have to take care of. So, thankful I had great parents to help do that. When they used to come see me play, would bring my daughter with me, my daughter Crystal, and everything. So it was it was those type of pressures. And like I said, now you have the pressure of being All-American and this and that. They expect you. I never thought I was going to be starting my freshman year. Like I told you, I was a student of the game. All I knew, I needed 2 years. I needed my junior and my senior year to be healthy and to play, and I'll be able to have a shot at it.
Well, do you think playing longer reduces that because of the injury factor? Like you want those 2 years, and you want 2 healthy years to go
Correct.
further. Playing 4 years, there's a higher risk of injury.
There's definitely a higher risk of injury, and back then we played on that AstroTurf, which
Yeah,
was
the terrible AstroTurf.
right on top of the
Montclair
cement.
University used to have it. I played on it once.
State, yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, we played on it, and sometimes we practiced on it. So I didn't get hurt in high school, but I started having ankle problems when I went to college and those type of things. So I used to love when we played at Penn State. They played on grass, Notre Dame. It was grass. Those type of things.
You know, it's amazing they didn't learn that lesson from that crap AstroTurf. And thank God it's a long gone dinosaur. I mean, just look at the NFL. Look at the quarterbacks who lasted forever. You got the Dan Marinos, you got the John Elways, you got the Terry Bradshaws, and
Correct.
they played on grass. And then look at the great quarterbacks whose career were cut, the Randall Cunninghams.
Playing in Philadelphia on that turf down in
Which was
played against
Veterans
Randall.
Stadium.
which was god awful. Randall Cunningham was a great running quarterback until he blew out his knee because of AstroTurf.
Correct.
RG3.
Yeah, it's amazing they didn't see that stuff earlier. And now the new stuff is like playing on a carpet.
Yeah, it is. It is now. But you know, back then at ACL, you were done definitely for a year and a half. If you tore your Achilles, you were done. Period.
Yeah.
You know, now these guys,
Well,
of course,
not a surgery
technology.
today, so yeah, exactly.
Absolutely,
So much different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just ask Patrick Mahomes how he could walk after the
Oh,
halftime.
a little injection right in the right spot. He's good.
Shot him up.
Yeah, he's coming out like he's 13 years old again.
Well, see, that's what I was going to get back to before. Like, you're in college, you're fighting for a position.
Correct.
The guy that's fighting for a position with you is taking the vitamins and getting bigger and stronger. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that put pressure on you, to say, like, well, if he's doing it, he's going to win the job?
Right.
Well, that's what Brian Bosworth said.
Yeah.
Brian Bosworth actually said that. And I know you played with him, and I've heard some things. But Brian Bosworth came out when he got popped for it. He said, how do you expect me to compete at a professional level with a guy across from me who I know is doing it?
Right.
And we're talking about steroids, obviously.
Right.
Who I know is doing it. And I'm a pro. This is what I do for a living. I got to do it.
Well, when we got in the league, it was still rampant. And you could tell, particularly with the offensive linemen, you know, they were tough and strong anyway. But
When you got to pick on the line.
when they took it, it was like running into a brick wall that wouldn't move. When they had to get off of it, still was hitting them hard, but it was some give to it. It didn't start until our second year. Me and Bosworth came in the first round together. I was in a regular draft. He came in a supplemental. So we played together, but they didn't start testing for steroids till 1988. Yeah. And, we didn't know that he was on it, but when he got off of it, he shriveled down. You don't see too many linebackers that only wear 8 and a half shoe.
Really?
But yeah.
No kid.
One thing about Boz, he was fast. Boz could run, could hit up. In retrospect, Boz was just in the wrong defense. Right. He's used, if you know about Oklahoma, they ran that 52. They had all the big horses in front of them. When he came to Seattle, we ran a 3-4, and the guards are uncovered, as offensive lineman. The guards got up on him, and he couldn't
shake him.
He couldn't move. But one quick Boz story, how Boz was a brand before most people. Deion came after us. Deion Sanders became a brand. Prime time, all of that. But
he used to paint the sides of his head.
One quick story about Boz is like, we would get ready to play the Denver Broncos, going to Denver. And he's talking about all week how he's going to kill Elway, knock Elway out, and all that. He's like, why are you saying this? You know what I mean? We the one got to go against Elway and all this thing. So we end up going up there. We end up losing the game, right? But, everybody in the stands got these white Boz Busters shirts. We hate you, Boz sucks, all that type of stuff. After the game, we just asked him, like, yo, why you was, poking the bear? Elway had a great game. He said, Tone, you see all those white shirts up in the stands? That's my company. So he just made a whole lot of money. This is 88, 87, 88. He just made a whole lot of money because he was branding it and everybody bought it.
So that's actually an Elvis story. So when the Colonel was promoting Elvis, he made 2 buttons. He made one button that says, I love Elvis, and he made one button that said, I hate Elvis.
Wow.
And the I Hate Elvis sold twice as many as the I Love Elvis, but guess who the money was going to? The Colonel.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
brilliant move.
Yes, it really was.
And he signed one of the first contracts, I think, with like Lloyd's of London or whatever.
Correct.
Where if he gets hurt, he gets like $11 million tax free or something like that. He had an insurance policy on himself.
Mm-hmm.
you start moving along in college, and there's potential. You know you're getting looks from pro teams. You know that you got the eyes on you. The pressure had to be phenomenal.
The pressure was definitely getting phenomenal, especially because like I said, I was like a diamond in the rough. Nobody saw me, even at Pitt. My first year, I broke my ankle, so I only played a few games. Sophomore, I started getting a couple starts here and there, starting to be noticed. My junior year is when I hit the scene. I ended up with 15 sacks and everything. We didn't win as a team, but I started to shine. I had the size, I had the speed, so everybody started really looking at me. So now my senior year, everybody knows where I am now. Now I'm getting double teamed and all those things, and I still ended up with 13 sacks and everything. So right now I'm still number 3 in at Pitt history in sacks.
Really?
Right before Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was 4th. I'm 3rd, and then Hugh Green and those guys is number 1.
Green, yeah.
So you start seeing those things. You start, wondering about what can I do, because the pressure is getting more and more and more. And I didn't go to like the Hula Bowl, all those bowl games, because of that turf. I started having ankle problems. So I had to get ready for the draft. So I was starting to get worried. I was already projected to be in the first round, but you don't know where. You could easily go second or third if you don't perform.
Well, that was we had a young gentleman in here named Damon Hayes, played all 4 years at Rutgers, and he talked a little bit about the pressure. He was supposed to go 6th round or something like that, and guess what? His phone never rang. Yeah. And it had to be heartbreaking, because you devote the better part of your young adult life to making this dream happen, and it doesn't happen. But the funny thing about pressure is pressure can destroy you, but pressure can also make diamonds.
Correct.
So I was going to say, your senior year, did you feel the pressure to go out and outperform yourself? Get more sacks, do this, do that.
Yeah, I definitely felt the pressure, because now you're starting to get the press. People. Now people know who you are. Like I said, I showed up out of nowhere, but now people know who you are. So yes, the pressure of with holding up the image of the team, yourself, your family. And of course, you want to make it. You want to be able to help your family and those type of things. So it seems like the weight of the world is starting to come on you. Even though my family never made me feel that way, it was things I wanted to do for them. So I kind of put press. Plus, I had a daughter also, so it was things I needed to do.
If you had like a bad game, did you just like go back and sit in your room like, Jesus Christ, I screwed up my chance of going to the NFL or something like that?
Actually, a bad game was worse when you were in the NFL. If you lost, I don't know, but it's because it's not many games in college either, but it was like a funeral when you lost a game in NFL, because there's so many jobs on the line. It was actually, college was pressure, but it was more pressure in the NFL. Well,
that's your job, and if you don't perform in your job, guess what? You're not going to be in that job for very long.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you got a bunch of young bucks coming up every year.
All the time.
Every year.
So the night of the draft, where were you?
I was in Phoenix, Arizona. My agent, Bruce Allen, he was the son of the late, great George Allen, who used to coach the Redskins back then. He always kept he lived in Phoenix, but he always had a draft party for the guys he have going in the draft that particular year. So, they flew me, my parents out, my brother and sister.
Oh, your parents got the experience.
Oh yeah, everybody. It was beautiful, and he told me what the procedure was. I still was projected to go in the first round, and he said, Tony, they're usually gonna call you if whatever round it is, they're going to call you, because they don't want to draft somebody that maybe got locked up, unfortunately may have died, and you wasting a draft pick, all those type of things. So they will call you and speak to you first.
Or had that mask on with the weed smoking. There was that guy a couple of years ago. Got dropped in a draft for that.
Yes, that was a great experience, though.
Yeah, so you go number 1.
Mm-hmm.
What was the look like in your parents' eyes?
No, let's go back. What was the phone call like?
Well, yeah, that's a great point. Well, first of all, I was projected to go anywhere from 10 to 20. That's where they thought I was going to go. The team that showed interest was the Cincinnati Bengals at 17, the Seattle Seahawks at 18. Rumors were that the Miami Dolphins was a little bit ahead, maybe at 12, and the 49ers, those 4 teams were interested. 49ers told me they were drafting in the 20s. It's like, Tony, if you're here, we'll take you, but we don't think you're going to be here. Now, the week before the draft, Marty Schottenheimer, who used to coach the Cleveland, he's a Pitt alumni also. He came to work me out at Pitt. Usually you don't get a head coach that comes work you out. He actually worked me out. And they drafted in the 20s. He said, Tony, if you're here, we need a linebacker. If you're here, but we don't think you're going to be here, we'll draft you. Draft day. Chris Berman, everything's going on. 4th pick in the draft, 1st round. Cleveland Brown makes a trade from the 20th and move up to 4th. I'm getting excited. I just know a week ago I just worked out for the head coach. He said he needs a linebacker. But I also remember my agent telling me that they will call you first. So they made the pick. It was a guy named Trey Junkin who went to Kentucky. I think he played 2 or 3 years, and he was done. So
played for the Eagles, I believe. Wasn't Trey Junkin an Eagle?
Name doesn't sound familiar, but that he just might not.
Trey Junkin was he had another brother. Mike Junkin. Trey Junkin is his brother. Mike Junkin was the one that came from Kentucky. He was the one that went to Cleveland. But Trey Junkin, I actually played with Trey Junkin with the Seahawks too. He was a long snapper. He was very good, and a tight end. Played with the Raiders and all of that. But so then after that, going all the way down, Cincinnati Bengals picked Jason Buck from BYU in the 17th pick. Then the phone rings. I pick it up. Hey, Tony, this is Chuck Knox from the Seattle Seahawks. He said, we have the next pick here, and we wanted to know would you like to be a Seahawk. I'm like excited. Of course, coach. So I look at my family, give them the thumbs up. He said, okay, we're about to give the announcement. I think ESPN was going to a commercial, but they made the announcement, and I gave a thumbs up. Everybody in the room was screaming and crying, and it was an awesome feeling.
You just became a superstar. You're a kid. You're a kid. Yeah. And most kids can't handle that.
22 years old, maybe?
21 years old, you just became a professional athlete. Top of the food chain.
Correct.
For something that you showed promise in, never playing junior league football. It's a true success story. It's actually a beautiful thing that you got to experience that in that room with your parents, looking in your parents' eyes face to face.
Yes. It was amazing. I had a lot of support.
Luckily, you didn't get catfish during the process.
That's a whole nother.